Um, so parries. To block grips are similar to Western boxing. And if you block a collar tie or double collar or wrist control, if you block grips, gi and no gi, that is, I would say those parries are similar to when you parry punches in Western boxing. Then there's the gap, which is dangerous. The gap between closing the gap, which is just like striking. There's a lot more in common with striking and grappling, because in groundwork the gap is very small, but it's very large in stand. Comparatively, by comparison. So the parrying is from striking, I would say. The gap, the distance, the combat distance is a striking style distance. Throwing is a strike because you are hitting someone against the ground, so that is a strike. It's not a grapple. Grips, like gripping and grabbing, that can be a grapple. Yes. Drag downs and like slow, small, ugly forms of takedowns, they can be grappling. But anything high speed, like throws, are a form of striking and not. So if you look at the Kodokan and they both class stand up separately from grappling. I think obviously they did it first, but I fully agree. Grappling and stand up, yeah, for my classification, it's separate anyway. So when people say that they have a grappling podcast and they say Western wrestling or sambo or or ludo, you know, or Western wrestling or sambo, all these systems, or Triple J, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, the throws in these systems, sumo, no-gi sumo, or half-gi, whatever you want to call it, the throws in these systems are strikes. They're not, again, I would distinguish takedown and throw, but throwing arts are striking arts. So stand up, again, Kodokan and maybe they both classify stand up and grappling separately. So grappling doesn't have to be groundwork. You can do standing locks and standing chokes, strangles, things like that. But I think the speed and the impact force is what makes it different. If it's high speed and you're hitting someone against something, that's the other difference with, say, an arm lock or a wrist lock or a leg lock. You're not hitting something against something. It's a slow leverage pressure or slow grinding pressure. So you're not. I think it's the speed and the impact style makes it different. So throwing arts are striking arts. I would say they're not grappling arts. So the 90% of Ludo is stand up, and that's striking. I would say it has more in common with karate than it does with grappling. But that's just a certain one lens of looking through it. You can look at it through multiple angles, but I'm just offering that type of lens to look through it. Yeah, I don't see how it's in any way grappling. It's absolutely striking. Again, you're hitting. There's the impact force, and then there's the you're hitting someone against the ground. So it's absolutely a strike and a throw. I'm talking about and throwing art, and it's not a grapple. Same with sumo. Same with lots of throwing systems. It's striking. And as I say, parrying the grips, that's just like parrying a punch in Western boxing. So that, and also the combat distance, combat gap is similar to striking systems. Also, the Tyson style, peekaboo style of like working your way in, working your way in. That you've got that in Western wrestling and in Ludo and in other systems, and that sort of working your way in to get inside fighter, that's a striking thing as well, I would say. Not that you can't do that with grappling, I get what people mean, but say for example, say a shorter fight with Western boxing where they want to get on the inside to throw power shots, things like that. It's again, it's from striking. That's more in common with striking. So it's not. Yeah, it's not grappling. The throwing techniques are striking techniques, and the sort of, I think it's more efficient. Maybe the freestyle wrestling where you've got their back and you do some kind of throw or takedown, or you've got their leg, one or single or double. That's high efficiency, I think. And I've done this. I've never done Western wrestling. Okay, this is what I've done, but Ludo. But it definitely doesn't make any. And I know they have it in Greco-Roman and things and in catch, but it doesn't. I'd say from like an efficiency point of view, it doesn't make any sense to turn your back. Like that's a very risky, sort of illogical thing to do. Now, yeah, it builds up strength and technique. I understand that. Turning power, it builds up turning power. I understand that. But from an efficiency point of view, it doesn't make any logical sense, I would say, at all. It's much more logical to do like a no-gi single or a no-gi double leg or an ankle pick, whether it's in the gi or out the gi. It's much more efficient to do that, or to grab someone's back and do like a, some kind of counter than it is to turn in, because then you've given. And I know again you've got turning power, I understand that, but just the principle of the thing doesn't make any sense. And again, I say this as someone who's done this. I don't know Western wrestling. I'm someone who's done Ludo, but that's all I've done really with throwing art. But still doesn't make any sense, I'd say, logically. The leg grabs and grabbing their back, giving your back up again. And I know people, you can do the arm spin, you can do something like that, you can get turning power in those techniques. I understand that, but just from a just the principle of the idea doesn't make any sense. You know, from an efficiency point of view, and a logic point of view, it makes more sense to grab a technique from a place of safety than it does to sort of give up. But as I say, I know you give up your back, but you gain turning power, and I know all that, but I still can't make sense of it. I think it's low efficiency. So that's all I have to say, is that probably And it's not all probably more freestyle and maybe a bit of catch. It's more efficient than turning your back in for a throw. It's just different ways. Maybe it's more of a, I don't know, Eastern style or power style. I don't know if it's a power style and Eastern style, but it's more efficient than turning your back. It's safe and efficient. Like, it's low risk. You know, maybe it's low reward, low risk. I don't know, but it's low risk technique versus giving up your back. You know, just in terms of efficiency and logic, it doesn't make any sense to me. But so, and as I say, I've never done Western wrestling, so it's not like I am biased towards it. But the Greco-Roman has a lot in similar, but more the freestyle. It makes more sense, as I say, not to turn in, just from a safety point of view and an efficiency point of view. But I'll just sum up it here, saying it's a type of striking and not a type of grappling. And then you've got parrying the grips, like parry a collar tie or parry wrist control or parry a double tie boxing collar grip, you know, blocking any grips or a gi grip if you're in the jacket, but blocking any type, whether it's no gi or in the gi, is a striking thing. Combat distance is striking thing. Throwing, you know, grabbing someone, picking up, hitting them on the ground, that is a striking technique, not a grappling technique. I think the difference is slow pressure versus fast pressure. I think that's what makes the difference. And also, combat distance and working your way in and things like that. It has all the hallmarks of striking, throwing arts, not grappling. But yeah, and they, as I say, those two classify it, especially this one for a long time, classified tattoo as a stand-up and grappling in separate categories. So that's my response.